Hi, my name is Sally Hurst and I'm in my studio today. And today I'm performing the Battle of the Presses. If you know me, you know my work and my online courses, I love actually, craft die presses to use as etching press, to print intaglio, dry point, calligraphy, monotype, all of it, okay? Why? They're affordable, they're portable, and why not? So, but I'm always getting questions. It's, oh, it can't be as good as an etching press, not a proper etching press, not a really heavy, expensive etching press. There's no way it's going to compete with an etching press. It's just a craft thing. So I thought I would try and dispel a few myths, and I have bought myself and yet another craft press, and I bought myself the Sizzix Big Shot Pro. Okay, why? Again, it's the same size as my traditional etching press, so I'm going to get them to compete with each other with a whole pile of plates. Let's have a look at the Sizzix first though, okay? Here she is. It's the Sizzix Big Shot Pro. It has a handle here, okay? I had a visitor to my studio this week to say, and she saw it, and she said, oh, isn't it, it's a bit plasticky. No, this is metal, okay? It's all metal. Its little sister, the Sizzix Big Shot Plus, yes, that's plastic. This is metal, okay? It comes with a different bed. Okay, it comes with a bed, which is a good size. You don't necessarily need to make another bed. It's a good size bed. But if you're wanting to do prints that are kind of, I don't know, A4 with a border, for example, or long prints, you're going to have to make yourself another bed. I cut up an IKEA kitchen cupboard. Okay, so I think this is 15 or 18 millimetre. I'm not quite sure. I wouldn't go over, say, 20 millimetre. I'll measure it and let you know. That's quite long. That's longer than the press, and that's giving me a nice long bed. Also got a blanket, okay, and I've got, just to let you know, I've got on here, I've got a piece of dry wipe stuff, which is magnetic. I really like that for all sorts of reasons, and I've got some sheets of watercolour paper. Why have I got watercolour paper? Well, I was a bit too lazy to cut some sheets of mount card. The piece of hardboard that I normally use was too thick. It wouldn't go through because this is thick, remember. So the watercolour paper is going to enable me to adjust my pressure. Because what this doesn't have, unlike a traditional etching press, there's no way of adjusting the pressure. So if I want more pressure, I have to build up from the bed upwards. So let's see what it's competing with. This is my etching press. I've had this one for about 10 years now. Now, yes, I know the roller is a little bit sad. It's got rusty. This was stuck in Spain during lockdown and in a damp environment. So I need to clean it up. I gather bicarb is the best way of doing that, but that's another tutorial. I'm not going to tell you about what make this is, because I love this press. This isn't a competition with the company who make these presses or any traditional etching presses. It's just to show you what is possible, okay? But this is a traditional etching press. It has a spindle handle. It has adjusters, so these guys turn the roller, turn those, and the roller will go down to the bed, and it has a bed. In terms of weight, this weighs about 30 kilograms. It's taking up in my studio exactly the same amount of space as the Big Shot Pro. The Big Shot Pro weighs probably about 18 kilograms, so it's quite a heavy thing. I think that pretty much covers what this is. The difference being, this guy retails now for around £1,500. This guy I picked up, the current price in the UK is £229, including delivery, okay? Just to give you an idea of the weight of this one. It's quite a chunk, and same goes for that guy, okay? So that's the two presses, and I want to tell you now what I'm going to do with them. So I've got 4 plates inked and ready to go, and I'm going to use the same 4 plates on each press. The differences being, if there's any variables that are going to occur, presumably we're going to get good prints, is the fact that I'm inking and wiping them, and inking and wiping has its human variables, to put it that way. So let's have a look and see what plates I have. So these are my 4 plates, a variety of different thicknesses. This one is probably the thickest one. This plate is a piece of card with silk and acrylic mediums and foil, and I've scratched into it. I've probably printed about 20 prints from this plate so far. It's getting a little bit tired, but it has a good range, which is why I chose it for this. Size wise, that's 15 centimeters square. This one is the next in terms of thickness. This is a piece of plastic. It's not so thick as the card. And this is about 20 centimeters square. And on this, I've got some golden micaceous iron oxide, and I've got some of Elise Wagner's encaustic calligraphy medium, which you have to heat up. Okay, I don't teach that, she teaches that, and you can press into it and dribble it and scratch into it. Okay, it's nice stuff. All of these are inked up, right? I've inked these up before I printed them, so they're a bit sticky. So that's that guy. Then next on the block, I've got this one. Not quite sure how well you can see that. Okay, I'm going to zoom in on this one. This is a piece of photopolymer plate. Again, I don't teach this. If you're in the UK and you want to learn about this, then head to Susie Turner. She is the master of this, but as far as I know, there's no online course on this, and it would be quite difficult to teach online because the amount of equipment that you need. However, it's a piece of photopolymer plate, and what the photopolymer is, let's see if I can get it to focus a bit better and go down a bit closer. Is that better? Not sure. It's a thin plate. It's about 1.5 millimeters thick, and it's coated with a substance that you can expose to a transparency. Okay, and the idea is it's what you'd call a photogravure. It will pick up all the detail. This is the test, right? This is the one that I'm really thinking, if we're going to see any disparity in the quality of the print, is going to be with this plate, because there's a huge amount of detail and a huge range of values or tones, and it's not super thick. Okay, the plate is really thin, and the lines and indentations, the bite as we call it, are hardly visible. You can see them now because it's inked up. Lastly, again, this is probably the thinnest one, and this is a piece of mirror card that's been cut to the shape of a box as part of my Tetra Pak print course. And again, that's super thin, and I've cut into it and I've inked it. Okay. So they are my 4 plates, and I'm going to print them on both of these presses, and then we'll have a little look and see what we get. In terms of ink, I'm using Akua Carbon Black printing ink, and I'm using, I think it's a 300 gram watercolour paper. I tend to use it quite a lot. It's cheap, cheerful, and it does what I want it to do. Okay, yes, you can buy expensive papers, but that's great. Okay, so that they're both going to have the same paper, they're both going to have the same ink, they're both going to have the same inker and wiper, and we'll see what these presses do. Okay, let's have a look, see what I've got in here. I've got the bed. This bed is thicker than the ones I use for my smaller craft die presses, so I don't have the sheet of hardboard or 2 that you've seen me use. I do have a piece of dry wipe magnetic sheet, handy stuff, and here I've got 10 sheets of watercolour paper. Okay, anything would do, mount card, all sorts of things. That just happens to be what I had at hand. I'm going to put a piece of, just a tatty piece of plain paper underneath my plate. And I think I'm going to go for this one first. I haven't tested this. What's going to happen is I may need more pressure, in which case more paper, or I may need less pressure, in which case less paper. It's as simple as that. I have a piece of dampened but blotted watercolour paper. The nice thing about this is you have more room to kind of play around. A piece of newsprint just to protect this lovely clean piece of blanket. It's 3mm blanket for those who want to know. And off we go. Quite a bite to it, but it can cope with it. Now I tend to do this, I tend to go back. It's just useful to teach because I end up where I started. We don't have to go back. One pass through the press should be enough. Yeah, I'm happy with that one. I'm going to carry on with the others. Now that was a medium thickness plate with a very mucky bottom. That was a piece of mount card with some silk and various other things on it. That's the thickest plate I've got. So anything else may need slightly more pressure. I'm going to go for this one next. But it does have thick stuff on it. That felt like good pressure. It seems happening. It's not struggling, but I can feel the pressure on the plate. And I've got a good embossing around the edges, which is a good sign. Yeah. Yeah. It's good, good, good. 2 done. Look at that. Work of art in its own right, that is. I'm going to change it. Now the next 2 are thinner, so the next one is the photopolymer plate. This is going to be the real test. There's so much detail in this. It's like printing from a photograph. Now I haven't changed the pressure and it's still plenty of pressure. We'll see. The thing to do is to look at the embossing and pull it away. Wow. Perfect print. You witnessed that with your own eyes, guys. Finally, it's a bit of a mucky bottom, so I'll turn it over. There, that side's been done before. Little Tetra Pak mucky backed paper. Oh, I'm such a mucky worker. Again, I haven't changed the pressure. This is the thinnest of thin plates. You don't get any thinner than this. This is a Tetra Pak made from a piece of mirror card, so it's not Tetra Pak as such. It's a box shape made from mirror card. Bit more pressure on that one. Slide this underneath the print. One more piece of paper. You get to learn what the pressure's going to do. Remember, these plates are so thin compared to that first one. Couldn't get any more pressure onto there if I tried. Okay, fine. So let's see how that compares with the grown-up one. Okay, so I've got my bed. I haven't checked the pressure on this one yet, so the first one's going to be interesting. So this is the thickest one, and I need some paper. Piece of newsprint. Just keeps the blanket clean. Blanket down, and with this one I need to adjust the pressure. Move it a little bit. There we go. Might need a bit more pressure on that one. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's a tad, just a tad. There we go. Okay. Number one. I think the pressure was quite firm on that one, so it's probably fine for this one as well. Number two. Let's turn this over. This is the, oh, I've got a drop of water on there. Where that came from. This is the photopolymer. May need to up the pressure a little bit. Probably alright. That's okay. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's fine. That's the photopolymer. And last but not least, I'm putting this piece of paper there, A, to cover up that mucky bottom, but also I know this is really thin. Smaller piece of paper. May need a bit more pressure. Can't hardly feel anything there. I'm pretty far down as I can be. If you're not sure, just peel it away and have a little look. Oh, that's fine. Okay. Okay, I'm going to look at these in turn. I've labelled each one. So this one of this plate was done with the etching press, and this one was done on the Sizzix. If anything, with these, I hope you can see, there is more detail here with the Sizzix than there is on the etching press. That's going to probably be down to pressure. And why do I know that? Well, that's because this is darker here than it is here. Okay, so there was more pressure on the Sizzix. than there was on the etching press. But in terms of what they have picked up, the variety, if you look at areas like this, I think you'd be hard pushed to see any real difference in terms of whether or not one of these has been printed on an etching press and one of them has been printed on a die cut machine. That's that one. Next kid on the block, get these in the same order. You can see, okay, this is the etching press one here on my left, and this is the one done on the Sizzix. I'm trying to look really closely at these, and I can't, I don't know about you guys, I'll take photos. I can see no discernible difference between either of these prints, other than that I obviously cleaned this one a bit better because I've got some smudging going on there. But in terms of the darks, pretty much the same. In terms of the texture, and I'll put photographs up on my website blog post. So in terms of the textures that are happening in here, in terms of the lines around the dribbles in the plate, that's another thing I'm looking for, and the very dark micaceous cyanide that runs along the top. I'm just going to get the plate. It might help you to see the plate as well. Someone asked me on my Printmakers forum, which is for the people on my course, they weren't sure, they were having trouble having the micaceous cyanide stick to things like plastic or varnish. This plate has been printed probably about 30 times. And that micaceous cyanide is showing no sign. I think you have to put it on quite thickly. I think if you're mean with it, skinny with it, it'll be like, how can I put it? Say you have thin icing on a cake, for example, it's more likely to crack off. Okay. This technique is encaustic calligraphy. And again, I don't teach that. Head over to Elise Wagner. Right, so that's plate number 2. I can see no difference. I will take photographs. This is the one, this is the really exciting one. This is the one that I said would be the test, okay? So what do we have? We have, this is the etching press, and this is the Sizzix, upside down. Sorry, I've labelled in the wrong way. I can see no discernible difference in that. At all, actually. Even the tones are pretty similar. The detail is there. Again, I'll go and get the plate. It's very finely etched with the photopolymer. So, you know, it's not a big, thick calligraphy plate, all right? Which is why I wanted to use it and have a look and see how that goes. I think you'd be hard pushed again to say, oh, that one clearly has been printed on an etching press and that one has been printed not, as in on a die cut machine. Fine, all good, all good. Last one. Okay, and again, this is our little Tetra Pak. This is the etching press. This is the Sizzix. The Sizzix is slightly darker, and again, that will be down to either pressure. You see, very slightly darker. That'll be down to pressure or my rubbish wiping. Okay, but let's think in terms of, has it picked, I'm looking to see is what's being picked up inside. Okay, now because this is really dark here and it's slightly lighter here, that's definitely an indication that there was more pressure on the Sizzix than there was on the etching press. But on the whole, guys, I think again, my mother used to have a saying about anything in terms of detail. She used to say, a blind man would be very pleased to see that. So I'm going to leave that thought there. Hope that really helps. I have to say I wasn't surprised, okay? I know how well these craft presses can print, okay? But I wanted to kind of show you how that went together. If you have any questions, you can email me, or you can post wherever this video is and give me some idea what you think or any comments. There is a blog post. I'll add this to my blog post. There's a blog post where I compare 6 craft presses. So this is just going to be an add-on to that. Okay. Take care. Catch up soon.